Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharp. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. I am so thrilled and excited to be speaking to Harley this morning, an ex homeless survivor who has escaped poverty through digital marketing. Harley, welcome to the show.
Hi,
How
I'm
are you?
glad to be here.
Oh my gosh,
Very glad to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you. And looks like that you're coming in from, or at least from Texas. You calling in from there this morning?
Yes, from Texas. Yes,
Nice.
that's where I am.
Nice, nice. So what tell us a little bit about your story and what brought you to Legendary, what you were looking for.
Yes, well, basically I was in poverty and I needed to make money and I was just so intrigued about making money online. I heard about affiliate marketing and digital marketing and things like that. Wasn't like a professional, but I just really, really needed to find something, that would work for me. So
Yeah.
that's how I was introduced to the program. I seen a YouTube video and here I am.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
have a background a little bit like I do where you've gone through some struggles in the past. How has that helped you with this?
It well, I figured, you know what, since I am very determined to try to make something work and I discovered that this is a passion of mine, because I really enjoy doing it. I first got started with this when I was living in my car.
Wow.
And it was crazy
I
because I
love
was
it.
documenting, yeah, I was documenting the process. I actually have a bunch of YouTube videos, but um, yeah, I was like going to a coffee shop trying to catch Wi-Fi, and all I had was my laptop and my phone. So I was just trying to do the best I can, and I was getting results, which was amazing. Like to be in that position and for something like that to happen, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was when I started not quite living out of my car, but had been living in my car or without a actual home at many points throughout my kind of early 20s and late teens, and was just struggled with drug addiction and just had a basically got clean at 24 and started to kind of put my life back together. And once I kind of got sober, and once I started to kind of, the fog started to settle a little bit, and I started to have a little bit more belief in myself. I realized, wow, I have dreams and I have aspirations and I really want to accomplish stuff. How do you feel,
Yeah.
or what is your thought about each one of us having the drive and desire in us, but sometimes just the life just makes it feel so heavy, and our situation can make it feel so hopeless. But what you've
Mhm.
done is you used a couple of tools that were low to no cost in this business model, which is low to no cost, even to support it and keep it going, because you can do this at this point with only free traffic. But going
Mhm.
back to that, we can feel like things are so hopeless or things are so heavy, but each one of us really, when we take those pieces kind of away, for me, I had all these hopes and dreams and aspirations, and I wasn't done living at all yet, I realized. Was that the same for you?
Right. Yes, absolutely. And it is tough. It's very tough, especially when you're just looking at everything going on around you and it doesn't really reflect, what's really inside of you at that moment because sometimes you could be so determined, to change things, but sometimes desperation can kind of push you to that at times, and like I've had the same history. Like I've been on drugs and stuff too. And, it's amazing how I'm even still alive, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but I think that it was just all a part of God's plan for me. And, sometimes things may not happen in our specific timing only because, sometimes we just need to be ready for it, and be ready for what's to come and what's thrown at us. And yeah, it was very tough to have to go through that. But As long as I stayed focused on the goal that I had set, like, you know what, I'm going to get out of this. I know one day I'm going to get out of this. I'm not exactly sure when, but I'm not going to give up. And that's what happened. I'm actually blown away, by how this actually went because I didn't expect things to go the way they did. And you
In
know,
your life, you mean?
just yeah, in life,
Yeah.
just in life, especially when you think that you have a really good head on your shoulders, and this could never happen to me, and I could never fall into something like that. And then here you go, years later down the road, and then you're just kind of reflecting, like, wow, okay, so how can I fix my life? How can I fix it? But it's important to just kind of like go through the process, and not give up on yourself.
Yeah.
That is so important.
Yeah, embracing your struggles is a difficult thing to do in the moment, but it's what makes you who you are, and very much easier said than done. Very
I
much
know.
so easier said than done. But what I think what's important to illustrate and remind everybody today is that you're writing your story right now. You're writing your
Yes.
story right now as you're going through
Mhm.
this hard thing that you're going through. This is actually what makes great stories. This is what makes life's worth living, is the ups and the downs. If it was all just good ups, wins, no L's ever,
Mhm.
that would be weird. That wouldn't be life. Somebody's all, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like people are losing every day. Like the NBA playoffs are happening right now. Two teams, really good teams, just lost last night, walked out of the building as losers, right? But that
Mm.
doesn't mean they are losers. That's just a part of their story. They just lost last night. Same
Mhm.
way that you lost when you were homeless in your car, same way I lost when I was homeless and addicted. But
Mhm.
now look at, once I've gotten through that, that's part of my story that I talk about the most, was the challenges
Exactly.
that I overcame. So it's almost like, not that we should invite challenge into our life, but
Mm.
we damn sure shouldn't run from it, because it really truly is what makes us who we are.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree with you on that for sure. It's to me that's more realistic,
Yeah.
when you just come from a place of being real and honest about your process and where you're coming from and how you're doing the best you can with what you have.
So
So, yeah, and sometimes people paint this picture on social media, but sometimes you don't see the backstory. We all see
yeah.
it all over the place, but then sometimes people are going through things they don't want to be exposed, but if you do expose it, you could be helping someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I what the also really cool thing about this is that you can kind of turn yourself into an authority online, even if you've had struggles and failures, especially if you've had struggles and failures. You can be an authority online. Even the more shit you've overcome, the more of an
Mhm.
authority you can be online, because people look to you and say, damn, he went through that, or she went through that already and got through that. And so I want you to talk to us a little bit about how you've gone from living in your car, okay, borrowing Wi-Fi at coffee shops, to creating your own authority, right? Because nobody comes to you and says, "Okay, Harley, I'm not going to do it on the show today. I'm not going to say, "Okay, Harley, you're now an authority." Nobody does that. Nobody did it to me. You have to own your crown. You have to just walk up to the shelf and just say, "I'll have this one." And you just take it off
Yeah,
the shelf and you just put it on your head, basically. When you are
right.
what you say you are really in this world, and if you're not that, then you'll be humbled. You'll either get humble or you'll get humiliated. But you basically have to own your seat. You have to take your
Hmm.
spot, and you have to begin to you have to step into the shoes of an authority, and you do that through being real. You do that through being kind. There's various ways that that happens. How would you articulate your journey of going from somebody who most people would say, "Oh," and there's a lot of people who do have a situation like that right in our community, and they say, "Nobody would listen to me."
Yeah.
Nobody would care what I have to
Yeah.
say, and I'm not an authority. And what do I have? What authority do I have to speak on any topic for any product or any sort of value in any niche, right? What is your road to creating your authority look like?
Well, for me, I think perspective is a big thing with this, making sure that you get some perspective about, yourself and pretty much blocking out the views of, how other people see you in the world, because yes, in the world we live in, when you hear about a homeless person, a lot of people like to shy away from, that, because it's like a label in a way. And so some people think that if they, are starting off like that, then there's just no hope for them to be who they really want to be, who they're really meant to be. And it's all about breaking down those walls of labels really, and to just see yourself for how you are, but the thing is for me, it was tough because, living that way and not really being focused on what's going on around me, but mostly on, just my goal, my goal, my goal. I'm gonna hit it. It's fine. It it takes a lot of focus, and I know it sounds, easier than it really is though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just took patience and perspective
Yeah.
and really, like you said, like putting on your crown, even if no one else sees you that way, you have to start seeing yourself that way
Yeah.
before anybody else does. That's the only way I feel like it's just going to transform into that, and you're going to transform into that person. But you have to start where you are and just
Yeah.
start wearing that crown as you are. So
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
think and there's a very specific way that we teach here at Legendary to be able to kind of use all of the various free tools. I call them low to no cost tools out there to be able to kind of manufacture that authority.
Hmm.
And part of it is sort of a manufacturing. You have to have the right pieces in place. For example, social media, the way that we teach people how to use TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and these social media platforms is to deliver value on them, right? And
Right.
or to be valuable somehow. And the way that you're valuable on the internet is you provide edutainment. That is value. It's either
Hmm.
educational or it's entertainment. Those are the two
Yeah,
things that people want from the internet. Nothing else. They don't want anything else,
exactly.
either education or entertainment, nothing else, right?
Hmm.
Because you can't get a
Right.
physical thing from the internet. You're going to the internet for two things and two things only, edutainment. So we use these platforms to create value, to deliver edutainment. And that in and of itself is the simplest way to begin to create authority on the internet. Instead of using the internet like a consumer, instead of going on and just posting pictures of, your dog or what you ate that morning and just being a consumer, there's no authority in that. You're just a participant. You have to
Right.
establish yourself as an authority in the room, right? You have to say, here's what I'm here to do. And you can either follow me and pay attention to what I'm saying, or you don't have to, but here's what I'm here to do, right? And then the
Mhm.
people who are not here to do that, if there's a teacher in the room, anybody who wants a student will assume that role. Anybody who wants to be a student will assume that role, right? Anybody who doesn't
Mhm.
want to learn anything or receive that form of edutainment will keep on scrolling. It's literally the perfect system. But you have to
Yeah.
know going into it, and that's part of this whole process on in Legendary Marketer, and why, if you try to skip all of our training and everything and you're frustrated and you don't know what you're doing and you say, well, I keep posting, why aren't I rich yet? It's like, well,
Right.
even before you take any action, you have to have a game plan, a blueprint of what you're going to do when you actually get onto the internet. You got to be clear about who you are going to show up as and what you are there to deliver. And again, when you walk into that room, if you want to imagine it as a room, you are announcing to everybody, here's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to do what you want me to do. I'm not here to do what you think I should be doing. Here's what I'm actually here to do. And if you're interested, stick around and listen. If you're not, boom, hit the old scroliosis with the thumb, keep it going, because there's 4 billion more people behind you that are probably that need to take a look at this. So just keep it on moving, right? because you know
Oh,
what you're there to do. It's you've
mhm.
owned that role of being an authority. Now, I've never quite broken
Mhm.
it down from my perspective like that, but I enjoyed that. That was clear to me. How
That was
would you
amazing.
describe, I don't mean I enjoyed listening to myself like talk, but sometimes I do. You gotta listen. You have to eventually keep talking until you do like to hear yourself talk. A lot of you don't like to
Yes.
hear yourself talk. Well, you don't talk. You're not talking enough. You got to talk
Right.
more, right? So I enjoyed that from the perspective of the clarity of kind of how I was able to articulate that. Because the other benefit of keeping to talk about this stuff that we're doing is you get more chances to be able to explain and articulate, and that's another way that you become more of an authority. The more we explain this stuff and talk about it, the better we get at talking about it, and the better we can market ourselves or what we're doing. How has what pieces would you add to that in terms of creating, manufacturing your authority? And did that sort of analogy of walking into the room and saying, here's what I'm here to do, did that resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. It was for me, it was just to get going. So once I got going, and even if I felt like I wasn't up to par as everyone else or had all the resources as everyone else, I still felt like as long as I just go and just start and just keep going, I'm going to get better and I'm going to get better. And you have to keep that mindset that you know what even if you don't get it on the first try, you have to keep going, because I mean if you stop, then it just defeats everything. It defeats you, it defeats the purpose. And so you have to just stick with it. You have to keep going, and in order to just establish yourself as an authority, you have to keep training, you have to keep becoming. I've seen one of your emails that said that, and it was just like, like keep becoming, keep becoming.
Mm,
So, that's a big part of this process,
yeah,
and it definitely transformed me for the better. That's for sure. And I'm able to have a different outlook on life now, because you have to be able to hold true to, what you are envisioning for yourself, and then if you do see yourself as an authority, hold on to that.
yeah,
Don't try to let up just because of what's going on around you.
yeah.
And yeah, you hit the nail right on the head with that. So
So
yeah.
how do you I mean, when we have passed, which we all do, there can be certain things that people can say that can hit sensitive areas, that can hit us and be like, "Ooh, that wounded me," right? These can be comments that come from people on the internet that don't even know us, and they say something and it just kind of throws us off, or it can actually come from somebody that we know, a family or a friend. How do you deal with those zingers? How do you deal with people's criticism today? What do you do if how do you protect yourself, your dream? Do you limit what you share, i.e. not overshare with people, not over explain with people? On the internet, are you quick to block? Like, how do you handle negative noise,
Well, I try not to
specifically
let it
from other people first?
from other people. I do try to block it out because I feel like I'm at this place now where I've been through so much, and a lot of people have. And so, people are going to talk about you regardless, especially even if they don't know you, and that's just inevitable. It's going to come, with the whole ordeal, because that's just life, and people are going to talk about you regardless until you die. So, what can you really do about it?
Yeah,
All you can do is just embrace who you are through this entire process. I mean, what else is there, So that's why it's so important to start building on that and start to love yourself for who you are, not what you have,
mm,
but who you are on the inside.
yeah.
I hope that doesn't sound too cliche or
No,
what do you call
nothing's
it?
nothing's cliche. I mean, it's just what's real for you.
Yeah.
So you had ran into me back in the day at a previous company that I had started, and you did or didn't get started then, and talk to us about maybe why you didn't or what you might have done different throughout the journey, because there's a lot of people who obviously start and don't go all in, or don't really give it that good college try, I guess, if for lack of better words, that real honest effort, like really giving your chance self a chance to succeed. What has that journey been like for you, of actually being exposed to some of this information as much as 10 years ago? I think you had ran into me, or at least
Mhm.
found something that I was doing on the internet teaching similar
Yeah.
strategies. And what advice, do you have for people, or how might, you do things differently in terms of, just at least being aware of procrastination, or being aware of fear, and letting that hold you back?
Yeah. I was definitely dealing with procrastination and fear back then when I found you in that old company. And for me, that's why it did not work for me because I did not go through the training. So that's my main advice, okay? When you start something, go through the training, all right? Don't just think that you can just do whatever you want if you have no idea what you're doing. Listen to the experts and see how they're doing it. Listen, take notes and then implement. But that's something that 10 years ago I did not do. I was just so about, I guess, like a lot of beginners, I just want to make money. I don't know what to do, but I don't really care what to do. Just let me just make money. And that's not really how it works. You got to work it, like to make it work for you, you got to work that thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the difference between now and then. Now I'm actually, utilizing all of the tools and all of the education that I'm learning, and that's why I'm getting results.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. And these skills have sunk in various ways over the years for you to now, make this make sense. And you're
mhm,
both doing affiliate marketing. I know you're also doing some coaching and some consulting and so forth,
mhm,
with, by helping other affiliates and stuff like that. And there's really a lot of different ways to monetize this information, right? I mean,
mm,
I even tell people, as you're going through training, if you're looking for additional ways to create income, you can go right on freelance.com or some of these freelancer sites, and you can
mhm,
actually grab copywriting jobs. You can grab little video editing jobs. You can grab little
mm,
things that you can do for a fee, right? And it's not always a set
mhm,
fee, it's a negotiated fee. It might be a $50 an hour type job, something like that.
mhm,
But you can even utilize the skill as a service while you're running affiliate campaigns. Of course, we teach coaching, creating courses, doing events, or affiliate marketing at Legendary Marketer. Those are the core 4 ways to sell information. But there's also other ways that you can monetize the skills once you know them. This is a big industry. It's a big world online, and there's so many
mm.
different ways. We even have people all the time who come through and own existing physical location businesses and say, "Oh my God, I've never actually marketed my business." Like, I've
Oh,
always just waited for people to kind of come through the door and hope that they would, but I've never actually marketed. And so they're starting to use these strategies to market, their drive traffic off the internet to their location, and build an email list and follow up with people to drive them back to their location, the same way that we do with affiliate marketing campaigns. How would you describe the vast array of different ways that somebody could use these skills, once they start to acquire them and wrap their head around what is really actually pretty basic information once you kind of understand the blueprint? But there's so many different
mhm.
things that you can do with it to monetize it, right?
Right. I mean, especially now, there's endless ways to do that, online. And, I guess if a person is not used to being online, if they're so used to brick and mortar setup and things like that, it can be a transition in itself. And, but you would have to be open to it. And I do feel like everybody should be online. Everybody and their mom and their grandmother and their children should like be online and utilize it because I mean it's there and it's a very, very powerful source because there's so many different sources on the internet that you can use to monetize.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a big, big deal, especially in this year, like we're all the way in 2023.
Yeah.
So it's just it's moving so fast, everything's just evolving. Now we have AI, right? And things like that. So jump on board, jump online as soon as you can. If people have not, do it because there's
Yeah.
so many different ways.
Now, as far as as far as kind of how we teach it here at Legendary, we've got a pretty direct approach, and it's a pretty simple approach, right? It starts off with just no BS, right? Right here from me, and I'm going live every morning, just talking to real students, and then our courses and our coaching, which is quite, we've got quite a bit going on from both our courses and also our live. There's a live workshop that's going on right now, a decade in a day workshop. There's about 500 people on it from our Blueprint students group who are on that live training right now. I just kicked it off. I just got out of it. What do you like about how we teach these business models here, and what resonates the most with you?
I love how clear cut everything is, especially like at the top of the list, there's just no fluff. And I mean, I've seen so many different things online that, oh goodness. I mean,
Oh, I know.
it's a lot of filler. It's
Oh,
just so much filler
all
and it's so
filler,
much
no
to have.
killer, right?
Exactly. And it leads you nowhere but confused and more confused. And, people really just want something simple, something that's very straightforward, and understandable. And even if I had to run it back, I will still get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me was just how like clear cut everything was and straightforward. So, and you know what? It's so like honest. The community is amazing, and it's just very, very honest.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and nowadays you really get exposed pretty quick if you're not honest, especially somebody in my position. If I'm going to go off and say, "Hey, this can really change your life," and there's a bunch of people who are looking and watching and paying and expecting that, then it better damn sure have the ability or the power to do that, or else you get exposed real quick. And people should be skeptical. People should be skeptical out there on the internet. Folks, you're feeling skeptical about things, about making decisions, about spending money, about who you're going to learn from. You should feel that way. There's a lot of crap out there online. There's a lot of slimy people. There's a lot of people who don't have your best interest in mind. And um, there is a lot of toxic community out there on the internet with different gurus and stuff. I know exactly, probably some of the same ones that you may know. And there's a new one popping up all the time. There's a new kind of false prophet that's popping up all the time who says that they have, is all you have to, I'm going to solve all your problems and it's just going to be easy and this and that. And the truth is that um, that's not true at all. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be maybe one of the hardest things you've ever done. I don't know, but it'll be worth
mhm,
it. It'll be worth it.
right.
That's what's important, right? And
Exactly.
so when to
Exactly.
hear the it's going to be hard, hear the it's going to take time, hear the you got to develop the skills. Here, not just the it's going to
Mhm.
change your life. That helps you to better prepare for the fight. It helps you to better prepare for the battle. It helps you to better get your mindset ready for those moments where you're feeling vulnerable and you're about to film your first video.
Exactly. For
And you're
sure.
right. You keep putting it off. You're like, oh, the hair, the voice, the nose, the this, the that, the teeth, the
Yeah.
this. I mean, come on. Have we not all been there?
Oh man, absolutely. 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 Especially
But
when I like started my TikTok, that's like the first source that I used when I started promoting. And it was just like I was so just like, oh my goodness. I mean, I'm living in my car doing this and then I'm wearing the same clothes every day and people are going to see me like looking the same in all my videos every day. But I never gave up. And for some reason, it's almost like people took to that as if it was inspiring because I would get people who would email me and they were like, you know what, your story is inspiring, and I just know that we are looking, we are watching you, and this is something that not a lot of people do, is
yeah,
just put it out there.
Right.
like what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that process, especially when you're establishing yourself as an authority, but then you're like showing people your process at the same time. I think maybe that, allowed me to gain some type of respect in that regard, because it takes courage to do that. Not a lot of people want people to see the ugly side of what's going on in their
It
lives. So,
does. I'm glad you pointed that out because yeah, it actually does take courage to share your struggles. And people recognize that, they respect that, and they're not dumb. They know that that takes courage. They know that that takes and that's why that earns respect. So a lot of that's why I've said over the years, turn your struggles into your strengths, turn your mess into your message, because it's exactly what I've done over the years. I've not done anything special, and I didn't do anything that was, I don't even, my story telling formula is not even anything that's super complicated. And I reveal exactly where I learned it, which was 12-step rooms of recovery, you know?
mhm,
And I kind of teach that throughout our training and talk about that quite a bit, but it really just boils down to what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I mean, it's a very
mhm,
simple storytelling process that I've pretty much followed for the last and there's all there's you can put spins on it for marketing and call it hook, story, offer, like my buddy Russell does, or you can slice and dice it in different ways, but the bottom line is it's all about revealing a piece of yourself that pulls people in. Like every story, like every book, like every movie, you have to reveal something difficult. The hero has to go through something hard in order to be a hero, to be inspirational. So if you don't ever
right.
want to go through anything hard, or you don't ever want to, or you don't see the value in revealing that and painting that into your marketing. And it doesn't even matter if I was going out and I was marketing, say for example, like this wallet. Like this is a Goyard. That's how we say it in America. It's more Goya. This is a this is a French made in Paris, high end, kind of like Louis Vuitton.
Mm,
So if I was going to market this wallet, well, I would tell the story of the company. I would tell the story of the founder, the history, the heritage. That's what makes these companies so valuable, is that they have this heritage, this history. They've been around since 1872 or whatever, right? They've been creating, and they have struggles that they've overcome. They're still here. They're still standing, right? Versus,
mhm,
some new brand that just popped up yesterday. It's not established its value. It doesn't have heritage. It doesn't have character. It doesn't have value like something like this kind of high-end product that is not only good quality, but you don't really understand why it's so expensive until you hear the story and the history and the heritage of the product. That's what makes it special. The same thing
mhm,
with each one of us. If we are going to use our personal story and our personal brand inside of our marketing, and we're going to put our face on things, then you want to tell both the positive and the negative. You want to tell the story of why you're doing it and what struggles you overcame to be able to get there. But I'll give you another example. Say that I was creating a course, and the niche that I wanted to go into was getting your baby to sleep through the night, parenting, right? Relationships. It's a sub niche of the either health, probably the health niche, but it could also be the relationships, because it's the relationship that you have with your child. But either way, I'm teaching parents how to get their newborn babies to sleep through the night. Because when I had a newborn baby, it was so difficult. I could not get my newborn baby to sleep through the night. It almost drove me crazy. I almost tried
yeah.
to take the baby back to the hospital and get a refund, right? And finally, one night I started a tapping singing strategy, okay, that I would
Mhm.
do 5 minutes at a time, okay, that would ease and relax my child, put him to bed, and would also put me peacefully in a relaxed state so I could go and actually sleep before the next time I had to get up and feed the baby again. Okay. I just made that up, people. But the point
Wow.
is that the story of the challenge and the struggle and how you came to the point of where you are now, stepping into the room, having something to teach. You're an authority. Hey, look, I
Mhm,
have something to share. I found a solution to get babies to sleep through the night from my painful situation.
mhm.
Or maybe it was, I'll let me do another one. Look, this is an ancient strategy, not ancient, but this is a strategy that's been passed down from generation to generation in my family. Let me do one in the health. Let me do one for the cooking. Like say you're doing some sort of health coaching product and you have a recipe kind of plan. Well, hey, this is a this strategy for eating and cooking is a strategy that's been passed down from generation to generation inside of my family that has helped us to stay heart healthy, that has helped us to, my great grandmother lived to be 99 years old, my mother lived to be 97 years old, whatever, right? But it was through the
Right.
challenge and struggle of them figuring this out in past generations of not having the medical care that we have now, and they had to create and cook real food, right, and go through that challenge and struggle of figuring out how to be healthy without all of the medical technology that we have now. And I am finally going to bring some of these secret family recipe strategies to market and share them with you so you can also learn how to stay heart healthy and cook. Right, I'm making this up, but my point is the story is everything, and how the
Yes.
person came to marketing this product, it makes it make more sense to the person when they're listening to it, and it helps you more to become an authority. What comes up for you as I'm coming up with these hypothetical kind of story pitches
Mm.
that I might use with any one of those products?
I feel like, in order to be, extremely relatable, you have to start off with your story, because it's like, I think that's what people really want is just to, realize that who is this person? Who is this person? I mean, do they really understand my struggle? Do they really understand what I'm going through? Are they just some authority figure that's just blossomed overnight and they've always been this way or they was born into it? That's why it's important to lead with your story a lot of the times because it is way more relatable and people can, like relate to it.
Yeah,
So I think,
makes you human.
yeah, that's exactly what it is for sure.
Well, Harley, it's been a real pleasure to speak with you this morning. We'll leave your TikTok up so people can at least find you. They're going over there saying, "Where's your videos and all this?" But I'm sure that you've got some strategy. Maybe they were taken down, you took them down. I'm sure you've had other TikTok
Yeah.
profiles, and like many of us have, we go through profiles, we go through various things. But we're going to put that up there so they can connect with you and at least
Mhm,
follow you and start to learn from you,
mhm.
and don't forget to support Harley, support me. Don't just think that people that we don't still need your support and we're not still trying to build our network and community of people so they can go there
Mhm.
and connect with you as well. What thought do you want to leave? What would you like to leave our listeners who are mostly, many of them are repeat listeners and people who come back to enjoy the show on a daily basis, but many of them are also starting this journey and they're just getting started. And so what advice would you give yourself if you were just starting on this journey, listening to a show like this and trying to decide if you really want to take the what feels like a massive leap, right? And it is a leap of faith, but if you want to take that step and really pursue digital marketing and freelance digital marketing as a new path to financial freedom, what would be your advice to yourself sitting there as a brand new person?
Well, I mean, exactly what you just said, have faith. Faith is just so important because it's the evidence of things not seen. So you have to be able to see beyond the scope of what's going on around you. I know I've been saying that throughout the live, but it's just so important. Faith is a very, very, very important thing to have. And, without it, how can you get anywhere? How can you get where you want to be? So yes, have a lot of faith, don't give up. And if I can do it in my situation, I know anybody can do it. So you
Yeah.
got this.
Awesome. Harley, have a fantastic Friday. Have a legendary weekend, my friend. Keep up the great work, okay? And come back and keep us posted on your journey in the future, will you?
You got it.
All right.
Hey.
All right. We'll see you later, Harley. Take care.
All right. You too. Bye.
All right. All right, my friends. Another wonderful interview and a inspirational story to go along with it. Somebody who's overcome incredible odds, had a homeless history, and has rose up like a phoenix from the ashes to reinvent herself and claim her crown as the queen of her life. And each one of you deserves to do the same thing. Each one of you is fully capable of doing the same thing. Each one of you has just as big and just as important dreams as any one of the people that you've seen on this show. So here's the homework that I'm going to give you this weekend, is to go through and finish and complete whatever it is that you're currently learning. If you're going through the 15-day challenge and you've got a couple of different things that you need to finish up to get through it, try to complete that. If you're starting the challenge, make a goal to get to a certain point, right? Throughout the weekend, find some time, create some space, right? Get yourself into the weekend and give yourself a great start to the next week, right? Today being Friday for entrepreneurs doesn't mean that we clock out, just means that we have an opportunity to use our time throughout the weekend strategically if you plan it now, right? There's so much opportunity when you get organized and you start to schedule your success. You have to claim your time. You can't wait for somebody to give you permission to go and work on your business a little bit or do this or that, even if it's family, even if it's friends. You have to create the space, create the time, claim that part of your schedule, schedule your success, have boundaries that are respectful to others, but respect yourself first and foremost, because you have to have that in order to get what you're doing off the ground and get it rolling. You have to make it a priority. Nobody else is going to make it a priority for you. And that doesn't mean that they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they don't support you. It just means that if you don't have an agenda for yourself, somebody else probably does have an agenda for you. Can I get an amen? We all know about that, right? So you have to schedule your success and claim your time. Okay. And when you do that, my friends, the results will be astounding. They'll probably be much more than you even expected. And I'm excited for that for you. Be legendary, my friends. We'll see you back here on Monday for another episode of Wake Up Legendary. My assignment as well is go and check out on our Facebook page. You can also find them on our YouTube, but right here, we're streaming live right on our Legendary Marketer Facebook page. And if you click that videos or that live button, you'll see nearly 700 interviews where we have talked to our students, people that have gone through our actual training, not gurus, not people who, just like to talk about things and be guests on podcasts. Actual students, non-professional people. These are not professional marketers. These are people who have just taken our courses, just gone through our education within the last few months in most cases, and have used it and are creating results in either in some cases having massive success or just getting things off the ground and starting to see results. Either way, scroll through those list of faces. Realize that there's no only this one specific type of person can do this. All walks of life, all races, all religions, all sexual identities, all experiences and backgrounds, all single, married, has kids, don't have kids. See it with your own eyes and begin to believe that you too can be successful as well, and not that you're in some way flawed or in some way not as powerful as other people. You are. We're not here to give you some, we're going to, finally instill power in you. You have all the power already inside of you that you need to do any damn thing you want. We're happy to remind you and help you go inside and find that power. That's our job. But don't you dare think that it's not already inside of you. Have a great weekend. Be legendary, my friends. Go kick some ass. Have a great Friday, and we'll see you back here on Monday for another episode. Peace.